Well, good morning. Welcome back. It's Friday, June 28th, 2024. We are out at the very mouth of the Patapsco River, where the Patapsco meets the Chesapeake Bay. The Chesapeake Bay is over my right shoulder here. You can see it's a little bit windy, so fortunately we are going up the river today, and hopefully that'll mitigate some of the wind. I've just launched the machine at Fort Smallwood State Park. I haven't been here before, but a nice park. Got in, it was $10 to launch at the ramp. Very clean, looks very safe. And so we'll get up and get rolling from here. So I've got a good ride for you today. We're gonna head up the Patapsco River. We're gonna see some commerce. We're gonna see some current events. We're going to see some American history, and we'll eventually get up into Baltimore Harbor and see what the inner harbor looks like from water. I've been into the Patapsco once, been a couple of years ago, but haven't really spent a lot of time riding around and chronicling it. So I'm interested to ride up today and see. It'll be a good mixture of industrialization and commerce and some things to see. So we're going to get going here in a minute. I'm going to button the machine up, and we'll get heading up the river. Also, just wanted to take a moment and mention that I have a replacement drone. So thank you to the many of you that commented on a couple of the videos, or the lack of the videos of air drone footage, especially my good friend Jim McNally. Jim, I agree with you. The videos are definitely better with the drone. So if for those of you who haven't seen it, in episode 8, when the upper Chesapeake Bay and the Susquehanna River, I had a bit of a mishap, and so the drone took off, rolled to its right, and is sitting in about 70 feet of water at the bottom of the Susquehanna River. Fortunately, I had paid for the DJI Air insurance. I was able to put a claim in with them, and I had to pay a couple $100 copay. But fortunately, I was able to get the drone back, had it up flying this morning, so hoping to get some more shots today to share with you. So I've got my chart here. This is a little busy, but we're here right where the bay, the mouth of the Patapsco and the Chesapeake Bay. We are going to head up the river, up the Patapsco River, eventually all the way into inner Baltimore Harbor. So over my shoulder here, we've got one of the power plants that's here in Baltimore. I think this is a coal power plant. I'm not positive on that. I think that's what all the conveyor belts and things are. The coal gets delivered maybe by waterway on a barge, and then the conveyors work their way up to where it's burned and turned into electricity. So, as I mentioned at the outset, there's a lot of industrial area here off the Patapsco. We're right kind of at the southern point heading into Baltimore. As you can see over my shoulder, the wind is a little bit more than I would like, some pretty good rollers. So I'm hoping as we keep making our way up the river, this will calm down a little bit. I'm getting a pretty good shower this morning, but always better to be out here on the water than sitting on my backside in front of a computer doing some work. So keep moving up to our next point of interest. Well, I'm on this beach here over by the power plant and over close to the Francis Scott Key Bridge. As you can see over my shoulder here, the wind is still coming in, some pretty good waves, so I've just got the machine here beached and tied off. I was able to get the drone up. I'll post some shots here. They'll be next in the clip here of the bridge. I didn't want to get too close. I don't know how security and stuff is over there, but it was neat to get the drone up and see it. Wish it was a little less windy, but we'll take what we can get. So, as I mentioned at the outset, we'd have some current events. So the Francis Scott Key Bridge, if you're not familiar with the Baltimore area, is one of the main bridges in the 695 loop that circumnavigates Baltimore, and a lot of truck or like heavy vehicles use that to make their way around the outside of Baltimore into the industrial area and not use the tunnels through the major thoroughfare. And so, as you probably saw in the news not too long ago, we had a big freighter lose control and run into the bridge, and the whole thing came down. So I haven't been over here, really had a good look at this since the accident occurred. So I'm gonna get back on the machine and we'll ride under it and see what we can see from there. But nice to get the drone up. I'm being a little bit more cautious. I took off from the beach here just because I want to get my comfortability up before I try and launch it again on the water and lose the bloody thing. So I'm gonna hop back up on the machine and we'll pull around the corner here and take a look at the bridge. Closer look at the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So it looks like across there is a warning sign. I'm guessing that is a temporary structure for, it looks like maybe a power line or communication lines that run across the river. You can see out here in the middle, I'm gonna stand up so I keep the water off the camera. You can see out here in the middle, I believe that is the stanchion that probably got hit. And I remember hearing on the news they brought in some US Navy salvage and diving teams to try and remove this. There was a big crane and I think they had to use explosives to get some of the concrete and the metal out. So here you go, you can get a better sense of things, how much concrete and rebar and steel. So, oh my, how much tonnage and inertia must have hit this to cause the whole bridge to come down like it did. A couple people, multiple people, 6 or 8 people lost their lives, God bless them. And luckily it wasn't much worse, but wow. Very tragic. The loss of life always is heartbreaking, and just the economic impact that this has on the Mid-Atlantic and particularly the Baltimore region. A ton of commerce comes through here, whether it's over the roadway or whether it was via water. And the port of Baltimore was shut down for at least a few months, and I don't know that it's fully back opening with this bridge coming back down. Best estimates have anywhere from 5 or 8 years to get a new model and start construction and to rebuild this. So we'll see what eventually comes back out here. Maybe that'll be a ride at a future time, but you can get a sense of what it looks like. This is the closest I've been out here since it's done. So good to get out here. Again, wish it was a little less windy. Over my shoulder here is further up the Patapsco. That's the way we're going to go. You could probably see some cranes and some other things on the skyline there. That's the Port of Baltimore, so we get a lot of heavy ships and cargo come in here and get offloaded and then sent out to various destinations on the east coast of the United States. So we're going to head up a little further and keep seeing what we can see today. So not my day. I was running across here to get some video, and all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye I saw something. I tried to hit reverse, and the machine ran over, looked like maybe some kind of metal pole or I'm not sure what, but made a awful sound and got very concerned. So I quickly gunned it and hit the beach here. My automatic bilge pump came on and got off the machine. There's some damage, significant damage to the fiberglass here. Water's coming in through the hole. So on the phone with my insurance company and trying to get a tow vehicle out here and figure out what's what. But I guess this is why you pay for insurance and those kinds of things. But I'm sick to the pit of my stomach. You know, I'm out trying to have a fun day and do something nice, and So this is what happened. So I guess we'll wait for the tow vehicle to get here and figure out how we're gonna get this thing on the trailer, where we're gonna get it, and assess the damage. But good things is I had a manual bilge, I had an electric bilge. I was able to get in here, didn't lose any things significantly. It wasn't hurt, but just one of those days, guys, one of those days. Well, I've been sitting here for about an hour. I got the towboat coming. I can feel underneath the V-hull that there's a crack in the fiberglass, and so obviously it's letting the water into the engine compartment. So I've got my bilge going, and then you probably can see in the back I have a manual bilge as well. So I've tried to pull this up as far as I can onto the beach, and I'm just trying to keep the water out of the engine compartment. The towboat's going to get here. They talked about trying to roll this, and I guess maybe they have some sheet or something that goes over the crack that might help keep the water out. And then we were able to locate a ramp pretty close to here, and I called ahead of time and let the folks know that had a bit of an emergency or an urgent issue, and they allowed us to use the ramp. So my wife has gone to fetch the truck and the trailer, and so luckily I'm pretty close to home today. I didn't go a couple hours away, but I'm just waiting on the towboat and trying to keep the water out of this thing as best I can, and we'll get it up onto the trailer and let it drain out, and then I guess let the insurance adjuster come and see what's what. Yeah, so water just keeps coming into the engine compartment, so I'm definitely trying to keep it up from over the battery and just out of the footwells here. I've tried to take most of my gear off to lighten the weight, and obviously I'm going to try and put this on the towboat and not in the machine, because obviously I don't want to lose any of it. I'm really grateful that I brought an extra battery pack and always have my my milliamp charger, so if I need it. So I had all my insurance papers with my claim number and phone numbers and all that kind of good stuff, so at least I had everything with me. And again, could have been much worse. So we'll see what the impact of this is. Wait, and hopefully the towboat here gets here shortly. All right, so it looks like the towboat's coming in. I've just been keeping the bilge empty. I got my little battery tender or battery jumper, so I've been keeping it on the battery and just pumping out the water. So here comes the Boat US guy. Hopefully we can get this rolled and patch something and get it into the ramp, and maybe it's not as serious as I'm hoping, but we'll see what he has to say here in a moment. All right, we got this thing rolled over on its side and got a patch on it, and Brian's gonna put a pump in this, and we're gonna get it hooked up and towed in. I can't move too much because I'm the one holding this up onto its side here. All right, so we got a patch on. Brian's gonna tie it up real tight to the back of the tow vessel here. I'm just trying to stay out of his way. And then he's gonna stick a pump down in the engine compartment. So took a huge chunk out of the glass all the way through, so that was what was letting the water in.
Yeah, kind of.
Got it all tied up. We got a pump in there, and so we're gonna head that way, and I guess there's a ramp. My wife's got the truck and trailer over there waiting for us. Well, thanks to Brian and Boat US for helping me out today. Boat US out of the Pasadena office. Brian and I were able to get this rolled, get a patch on it, and then towed it in behind his boat into, I guess this is called Jaws Marine. I've never been here before. kind of an industrial area here in Curtis Bay area off the Patapsco in Baltimore. So I called, and the lady was kind enough to let us use the ramp behind here to get the machine back up onto the trailer. So it's on the trailer, and I'll get a photo or a video image of underneath underneath in a minute, but some kind of submerged structure or metal or something, and it definitely took a good chunk out of the bottom of the Sea Doo. So some lessons for you here today is, one, make sure you've got a phone, you've got a battery charger, you've got your insurance paperwork, you know who to call when you have an emergency, because eventually it happens to all of us. We break down or something happens. Second, fortunately I had some duct tape and some trash bags and some other stuff that we were able to make a patch to somewhat keep the water out of it as he towed me back in. And lastly, we'll see what the insurance company says, but the bilge pump worked really well, my manual bilge. I just tried to keep as much water out of the engine compartment for like the hour and a half I was waiting to come in. So I'll let the insurance adjuster come out. I don't know if this is fixable or totalable or what's going to happen here. So this might be it for a little while for Brian's Escapades or Sea Doo Escapades. Definitely bummed, but fortunately wasn't hurt and nothing more serious than this. So I appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this, and all the good thoughts, and hopefully we will be back out on the water here soon. So that's the underneath. Hopefully you guys are getting a good shot of that. So water was coming up in through there. Definitely a good chunk of fiberglass. I'm not a fiberglass expert, so I guess we'll find out if this is repairable or not.